Do you ever feel stuck when it comes to losing weight? Maybe you've lost 25 pounds, 50 pounds, or even 100 pounds, but there's just this one specific number on the scale where every time you get there, you just can't break through it, no matter what you try. You try doing more cardio, you try cutting out more carbohydrates, you try drinking more water, you try to do all of this stuff, but you just can't drop below that number. This is known as a weight loss plateau. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how you can overcome those and how to make sure that when you do get through that weight loss plateau, you don't fall off the wagon and gain the weight back and just have to start over a few months later down the line. Now, before I get into the content, I want you to know why you can listen to me, why you can trust me, because the internet tends to be full with a lot of people who just read some papers or read some textbooks, and then they get in front of a camera like this and talk about something that they've never actually applied to real human beings. And the research and the textbooks, it's all great stuff, but you also have to know how humans actually work in the real world, which I tend to have a lot of experience with. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Joey Yochheim. I'm the co-founder of defaultkings.com. We are an online fitness coaching company. We've worked with over 600 men since 2019, and our clients have lost anywhere from 10 to 188 pounds. So if you want to see more about what those results look like, our reviews, interviews with clients, and all the other reasons that you can watch this and know that I know what I'm talking about, just go to defaultkings.com and see it for yourself. All right, so let's get into the content of the video. Now, first things first, we have to define what is a plateau. This is really just any time you hit a sticking point, or sometimes people call it an invisible wall or a glass ceiling, whatever you want to look at, or even a glass floor, technically, because you're losing weight, right? And you're going down. Anytime you hit one of those with your weight loss. And there's a few different ways that these can happen. There's a few different ways that they look, and each of them mean a different thing. So that's what I'm going to be breaking down here, because you solve them differently, right? You solve them differently. The first kind of one that you're going to typically see when somebody is doing weight loss, and this is honestly the most common one that I see with clients, is this like smooth kind of sticking point in a 1 to 3 pound window. So this is an example of one of our guys. He's down quite a bit of weight now, but you can see he has these little like mini sticking points where between 232 and 234, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weigh-ins, all within, it looks like a pound. And then the weight kind of drops off. He has another little one. The weight kind of drops off, another little one. And then he has like a longer one. But I remember specifically, he had his usual drop off, and this day was a holiday. So he overate and found himself resetting right back here, which is fine. I'm not going to tell a client to not enjoy the holiday. Go out and eat. It's fine. We'll correct it later, right? Again, you're a human being. Right? In a lab setting, I'd be like, oh no, my data's ruined. It's a human, right? You need to enjoy life. So he pops back up here. And again, you can kind of see this sticking point in this like little 2 pound range. So this is probably the most common one if I had to put my money on it, right? Smooth. It's within a 1 to 3 pound window. It's nothing too huge, nothing to worry about, right? Pretty normal. The second one that I see in terms of most common is this erratic 3 to 5 pound swing that a person can just never seem to regulate below their current lowest weigh-in. So this one tends to last a little bit longer, and I'll get into that later, short-term versus long-term plateaus, but this one tends to last a little bit longer, and it's quite a bit more erratic. So you can see here, 1 to 3 pound windows, even less than that. It looks like 1 to 2 pound windows in this example, right? This is kind of all over the place, right? You have 254, then 257, 256, 256, 255, 257, 259, right? It's kind of all over the place. And you notice this also tends to last a bit longer. So it's a bit more frustrating, right? This is kind of like a short-term plateau. This is kind of like a longer-term plateau where there's just erratic swinging and you can never really break below your low weigh-in, which in this case was like 253. You're just kind of going back and forth. And you can see, I mean, there's a ton of weigh-ins here. What is this, like 15 weigh-ins? Versus in this case, you have 5, then 3, then 2, then like 10, right? But they're all little tiny mini clusters in a smooth range. Right, so this is the second kind of one that happens, and it's a little bit of a longer term one. But then worst case scenario, you have situations where somebody's a complete yo-yoer who regularly loses 25 pounds and gains it back every single time. And I don't need to show you a graph for this. You know who you are if you're watching this. What I highly recommend that you do is the following. Binge watch my YouTube channel. I have dozens of videos on how to lose weight the right way. Dozens. And I put out 2 to 3 a week at this point. So there's going to be plenty of them. Right? The other option is go and binge read my content on other platforms. I've been posting content online since 2019, 2020. So X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. We even have TikTok now. So there's plenty of places literally just from me to go and find solutions to these problems for free on the internet. Right? And your last option, which is not a bad option at all, obviously, book a free fat loss assessment by going to our website, defaultkings.com, and talk to our team about how we guarantee you lose 10 to 50 pounds in the next 12 weeks and are set up to keep it off for good by working with us directly. Right? So do these things first, right? And then if you still can't figure it out, inquire to work with us. Right? We have plenty of options that everybody can afford. So those are your options in my mind if you're somebody that's a complete yo-yoer. Right? Now, moving on here, we got to talk about more on these plateaus specifically. So let me go ahead and move on here. Perfect. So short-term plateaus. This is like the first one I showed you, these little smooth plateaus. And how you identify these are like this, and you'll see them in the graphs here. But I first want to show you this guy's full graph before we zoom in. Right? Because if you just zoom in, you're like, man, this guy has a lot of little mini plateaus. But on a long time horizon, you don't really notice that. Right? So these short-term plateaus are usually in 3 to 7 day sequences. But you can see over the course of mid-February to beginning of June, this guy's from almost 290 to 230, right? Like 60 pounds. And it looks kind of like just a straight line, like, oh, he just lost weight in a straight line. But when you actually zoom in, you kind of see that the day-to-day actually looks like this. I just zoomed into March, not the full 6 months. I just zoomed into March. Right? And you can see he has quite a few of these 3 to 7 day plateaus where he stays in that little 2 pound range. So 1, 2, 3 days inside of 274 to 276, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a little even longer than that, inside of this 2 pound range. And then you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inside of this little 2 pound range. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then even one down here, 1, 2, 3. And you can kind of see the pattern, right? Where it's like 3 to 7 days of stick, and then 1 to 2 days of just drop, plummets. 3 to 7 days of stick, plummets. 3 to 7 days of stick, plummet. And typically the plummets happen on just like one day. It's like a 1 day swing. This is just the short-term plateaus. This is how you identify them. If you find yourself sitting in that little 2 pound range and then dropping off normally, right? You just regularly have a little drop off day. That's a short-term plateau. Okay? That's what it is. They're little short-term ones. And the reason this happens is typically going to be because you're in an aggressive calorie deficit of anywhere from 750 to 1,000 calories or more per day is typically when you see this like stair stepper look, right? It looks like a set of stairs if you're not following what I'm saying here, right? You're typically seeing that in like very severe or very aggressive deficits. Sometimes people refer to this, I don't personally refer to this like this inside of our coaching programs, but sometimes people refer to it as the whoosh effect, where your cells, they work hard to retain the fluid since they're energy depleted. You're in a severe deficit and likely haven't been in one for some time. So your body's literally just holding on to all the fluid that it can. But eventually, it just has to go. And so that's either going to get released through sweat, urine, defecation, etc., all the ways that you would lose fluid. Right? And that's going to trigger this like 2 to 3 pound drop. Literally, it could be as soon as 1 day. So this is an example, 270. He dropped down to 267, right? 3 pound swing 1 day. Another example, 3 pound swing 1 day. Another example, 2.5 pound swing 1 day. So you're going to have these little sticking points and then you're going to plop off. Sometimes people call it the whoosh effect. I call it just the stair stepper, right? The stair stepper graph, right? And this is a normal short-term plateau. And the solution to these, and the reason I'm talking about it in like the upbeat way that I am, is because you don't have to change anything. This is just part of the equation, right? If you're doing an extreme, not extreme, but an aggressive deficit, it's what's going to happen. So you don't need to change anything, right? Because it's only 3 to 7 days of plateau, and then you drop. Plateau for 3 to 7 days, and then you drop. Your graph is still down, right? Look, you can see it's obviously a downtrend, but when you zoom in, this is what the actual day-to-day looks like. It's the mini plateau, drop, mini plateau, drop. Right? So don't do anything. Don't do anything. All you need to do is once you're within like 10 pounds or so of your goal body weight, and I define goal body weight as whatever gets you to below a 25 BMI, body mass index. You can go online and find a calculator to do that, determine what your BMI is currently and how much you need to weigh to make your BMI less than 25. Once you get within 10 pounds of that metric, add back in 500 calories a day just to slow your rate of weight loss, just so it's not as extreme, right? And once you hit your goal body weight, continue to increase your calories every 3 days by, say, 250 calories until you stop losing weight, right? Once you're at a real sticking point, a real steady state, and instead of having 3 to 5 day plateaus, you just actually stay here indefinitely. Right? So not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's what you do once you get to goal body weight. You chill. Because usually the next progression is decreasing your body fat percentage, which is a little bit of a different game, right? And chances are you've already changed your body fat percentage by quite a bit just by getting to your goal body weight or a healthy BMI. Right? So that's short-term plateaus. The second type of plateaus that's worth talking about is the long-term ones. And these are the ones that it's a little bit of a different game. Like you might have to make some adjustments. And how you see this is by zooming in and identifying a patch where there's 8 to 14 days of you staying in that kind of flux zone, like we talked about at the beginning. So if I go back to the very first slide, you guys will remember me talking about, hey, the smooth sticking points, the kind of smooth plateaus, those are usually the short-term ones. You have the erratic 3 to 5 pound swings. This is usually like a long-term plateau. Like this usually means we're in one of those long sticking points. And you define for sure that it's a long sticking point by it being 8 to 14 days. Right? If you find yourself not hitting a new low weigh-in for 8 to 14 days, you're probably in a sticking point. Right? You're probably in a sticking point. This is an example of what this looks like for one of our guys. Again, this is a guy that started in March. He was like upper 260s, and now he's down below 230. Right? And if you zoom in, I forget which month I zoomed into. It looks like somewhere in June here. If you zoom in, you can see that he has one of these kind of up and down 3 to 5 pound plateaus from 237 to 234. You could actually probably call it 238. I drew it as 237, but probably 238 because you have this one here where he's in this like 4 pound range, right? And if you include this 5 pound range, so this kind of like 5 pound range almost, 3 to 5 pounds, like I said, where the weight's just kind of not necessarily going the direction we want. We're kind of swinging up and down, right? And you can see there's 14, 15, 16, 17 weigh-ins here, right? And yes, does he still generally have somewhat of a down slope? Yeah, but the rate of progress definitely slowed, right? It's definitely slower than it was here, for sure, and you can see that straight away, and it's definitely slower than it is here, right? And the reason that these long-term plateaus of 8 to 14 days happen is simple. You hit caloric equilibrium or you decreased your calorie deficit. If it's a true sticking point where you're not breaking out of it at all, like he eventually broke out of it, and I'll tell you how he did in a second here. If it's a true plateau where you don't break out of it, you hit caloric equilibrium. That's it. If it's a slowing plateau, like where your rate of weight loss went from rate of weight loss went from, I don't know, like this guy, he was doing 2 pounds a week and it dropped to not even half a pound a week. If that happens, we're not quite at equilibrium yet, but we're getting closer, and we definitely reduced our deficit and slowed it down. But that's all that's happening. It's just calorie balance. It's just energy balance, right? This is the only thing that impacts weight loss. Right? You have a balanced state where your calories equal your calories, your calories in equal your calories out, equilibrium. You have positive energy balance where if you're bringing more in than you're putting out, you're going to gain weight, right? Which isn't happening, right? But if it is, it's because you're in a positive energy balance, and you have a negative energy balance, which is calories in has to be less than calories out. You need to do more out than you're putting in. That's a negative energy balance. So the only time this ever stops is because this energy balance got adjusted one way or another. That's it. That's the only way to manipulate your weight. That's it. So the solution when you find yourself in a long-term plateau of like 8 to 14 days is to widen the calorie deficit. You need to either burn more calories, right? Burn more, move more, right? Or eat less calories, right? Eat less, right? But our most successful clients, they do both. They add in some walking and they decrease their calorie intake. They just do both. They continue to widen the gap, right? And the big key here, and actually how we help this guy here break out of this, and you see him dip down and finally get back down on path where now he's regularly weighing in below 234 again, right? All we did for him was we just had him go back to doing exactly what he was doing when he was rapidly losing weight at 2 pounds a week, which in his case, he got a little bit lazy with tracking. He stopped tracking every single calorie. He would track like 1 meal or 2 meals a day, but then the third meal he wouldn't really track, right? He wouldn't really hit the full workout. He'd kind of hit maybe 75 or 80% of the workout. Or if he did hit 100% of it, he wasn't going 100% effort, right? And he kind of started to maybe skip some walks instead of doing a walk every single day like we recommend. He was maybe doing it 5 days a week. He just got a little sloppy, right? And I'm not faulting him. I'm not bashing him. He's one of our clients and he's awesome. He's down like almost 40 pounds now. He's doing great. He just got a little sloppy for a few weeks. And that happens. So to fix that case, we didn't have to drop his calorie goal. We didn't have to add more activity for him. He just got diligent again, got disciplined again, reeled everything back in and did it to the best of his abilities. And he was able to hit a new low weigh-in literally just 3 days later, only from dialing back in and making sure he's tracking everything, making sure he's tracking every workout, and making sure he's got it down to a T like he was when he was losing 2 pounds a week. And that was it. So the solution when you find yourself in a long-term plateau is to widen the calorie deficit, right? Get away from the equilibrium, right? You need to get to negative energy balance. You have to. But it doesn't always mean you have to adjust the current goals or current marks that you have set for yourself calorically or activity-wise. It could just mean dialing back into what you were doing when you were seeing success, right? Making sure, are you still actually eating 1,800 calories? Are you still actually going to failure in the weight room? Are you still actually getting 7 walks a weekend, or are you just kind of down to 4 or 5 now? Right? So you need to do an audit. That's the first thing that I would recommend is literally audit your behavior from the time the plateau started to now and figure out, do I need to make an adjustment with my calorie metrics, whether that be eating wise or activity wise? Or do I just need to dial back in and go back to exactly what I was doing to a T before the plateau started? And usually what you'll find is you just need to dial back in and get disciplined again. And it's not sexy, but it's reality, right? So that's how you break through weight loss plateaus. If you have any questions about this, put it in the comments below, or you can message me on any of the social media platforms. I have all of them in the description of this video. And if you are somebody that's watching this and wants help from me or my team directly, go to defaultkings.com and book a free fat loss assessment. You'll speak with either myself or somebody on my team about how we can help you lose anywhere from 10 to 50 pounds or more and actually be set up to keep it off for good. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, send it to your friends that need help breaking through some weight loss plateaus. See you in the next one.